you're watching The Last Word with me, Marya Shakil. TMC MP Mahua Moitra will be appearing before the Lok Sabha's ethics panel tomorrow morning. On the eve of her appearance, the ethics panel received reports from three ministries, that is the Home Ministry, the IT Ministry and the Foreign Affairs Ministry, that is the External Affairs Ministry. On 26th of October, the Ethics Committee had sought crucial information from these ministries about Mahua Moitra's travels abroad as well as use of a parliament login. Mahua Moitra is likely to be questioned about these reports as well. On her part, the TMC MP started her day by releasing her letter to the Ethics Committee on social media. Her logic, and I quote, "Since the Ethics Committee deemed it fit to release my summons to the media, I think it is important to release my letter to the committee before my hearing tomorrow," unquote. Mahua Moitra pointed out that what she terms as double standards of the Ethics Committee. She says that the committee failed to give her time to meet her commitments to her constituency. In contrast, BJP MP Ramesh Biduri, who faces charges of hate speech, was allowed to put his campaigning in Rajasthan first. Mahua has asked that she be allowed to cross-examine Nishikant Dubey, Dehadrai and Darshan Hiranandani. The TMC MP also reminded the Ethics Committee of its limited role that excludes investigating criminality. Meanwhile, BJP MP Nishikant Dubey has fired a fresh salvo against Mahua Moitra. Quoting media reports, Dubey has said that Darshan Hiranandani used Mahua Moitra's login 47 times from Dubai. Remember, he was the first to raise this entire cash for query allegations against Mahua Moitra, along with Delhi-based lawyer Jai Anand Dehadrai. He had earlier written to IT Ministry seeking a separate inquiry into instances of Mahua Moitra letting Darshan Hiranandani use her login credentials to post questions on her behalf. Let me bring in my guests now. Kabir Shankar Bose is an advocate of the Supreme Court. We have veteran journalist Subabrata Bhattacharya also joining us. Kabir, beginning with you, there are questions, there are answers, and there are several questions that are being asked by the TMC MP in question here. If you look at the developments, particularly of the last 24 hours, where she withdrew the complaint against the media houses, and now she is questioning whether there is if criminality is really the domain of the Ethics Committee. I'm trying to understand that is this some kind of web which is being built?
Mohua is finding herself on the wrong footing. She's on the defensive and she's just going haywire. She doesn't know what is the right thing to do. She needs good advice, and instead of, going so hyper, she needs proper advice, number one. Number two, what was the hurry in going to court, rushing to court? Because she ultimately had to withdraw. She's dropped her claim against all the media houses. Not only that, she told the court that she's not pressing for an interim order. If there was no urgency, she didn't want an interim order, why rush to court? That is why I say that Mahua is on the defensive. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's trying to cover her tracks of the wrongdoing. And finally, she's going to the committee. Yes, I do agree the committee cannot go into criminality. That is a part of the criminal investigating agencies. That's a later part. But let the committee immediately go into the issue whether there has been breach of parliamentary privileges, and let the committee come out with that finding.
So the question is that if this provision of login IDs and password is a recent phenomena, then what Mahua Moitra here is saying is that there's no rule barring her from not sharing it with someone.
No, that's wrong. That's wrong. The rules are clearly there. I don't have the rule number off my hand, but the rules are clearly there. It even says you cannot share your login credentials with your secretary. It goes to that extent. So prima facie and ex facie, she is guilty of breaching parliamentary rules. That is absolutely clear. And we have Hiranandani's affidavit as well, which she claimed was concocted under pressure. And he has now come on record and says, no, there was no duress.
Yes.
I have actually gone to the embassy and the High Commission in UAE and done it voluntarily. So let all this come out. She is definitely in breach of parliamentary privileges. The criminal part has to be investigated by a proper investigating agency.
Okay, Shubhabrata Bhattacharya, we have been reporting on various aspects of this story for several weeks now, and now that final appearance is happening. The point being made by Mahua Moitra is that she should be allowed to cross-examine those who have leveled those charges against her. There's no such precedent as far as the committees go, that the person in question is given that option of cross-questioning. So what really is likely to happen? Because if any permission of cross-questioning is supposed to be given, that is given only by the Lok Sabha Speaker.
Very true. The fact is that Mohua has been changing her stance from day to day. She has, instead of humbly going before the committee and stating her case, she is trying to prejudge the committee. She is saying that they don't have criminal jurisdiction. Yesterday I saw on Bengali TV in Calcutta television that she was alleging that they will throw me out for the winter session. Now, why should she prejudge the committee? That's unfair to the committee to begin with. The fact is that there's no privilege involved, unfortunately, as the ethics committee looks into issues of propriety. The question is that did she ask these questions for a consideration and for illegal gratification? If so, then it will be impinging on the privilege of Parliament, and the right forum for that will be the Privileges Committee. The Ethics Committee, unfortunately, has not been very active, as Mahua has pointed out, and they are yet to frame code of conduct for the MPs.
No, but code of conduct of MPs and the do's and don'ts are there in the public domain, which includes an MP declaring conflict of interest. Do you think this comes in that domain of conflict of interest?
It could. There's an area that the committee has to decide after questioning her. And as far as her right to cross-examine, that again is an area that the speaker may like to decide, because we are groping in a grey area, because there are no precedents that can be relied upon. This was the first time that such a thing has happened. She has been calling this committee kangaroo court. Now, apparently, though she is highly educated abroad, she does not know the meaning of kangaroo court. Kangaroo court is the illegal court. The Committee of Parliament cannot be called a kangaroo court. She has been also making all sorts of allegations against various people. She would like to now cross-examine not only Mr. Dubey, Dehadrai, she would like to cross-examine Mr. Hiranandani. Hiranandani has not been called in so far. How can he be cross-examined? Cross-examination is on somebody's testament. And she also wants to question the officials of the three ministries. Now, it's for the speaker to decide whether he would like to have this prolonged proceedings, or tomorrow, as the committee meets, and I'd like to emphasize that this committee has got 7 members of the BJP and 8 members of the opposition, non-BJP parties. So I do not think it is a kangaroo court, quote unquote, as Mohua would like to call it. Mohua should submit herself to the inquiry, and as Mr. Dubey today pointed out, that we found out that 47 times her passport was used in Dubai. All these things she will have to explain. One thing I'd like to point out, that she says that you see, she belongs to a remote constituency. That's not true, because Krishnanagar is the far end of the Calcutta's suburban rail system. So a place which is in the suburban rail system of the state capital can't be called remote. And she says that she was using Hiranandani's PA for dictating her questions. Now,
no, but don't you think, Kabir, that it's all in fairness that she can question, and she should be given that option of cross-questioning all those who have complained against her?
She ought to be given that. Now, let me add to that I find it a little strange. The entire subcontinent of India, she could not find a reliable stenotypist, so she had to telephone Dubai and dictate her questions. So this is untenable explanation
Okay,
she's
so
giving.
since you're saying it's untenable, but because the MP in question has raised certain concerns, particularly about, why has the Privileged Committee of Parliament, which is looking into the complaint that has been filed by Danish Ali against Ramesh Biduri, which relates to the hate speech, why has the movement on that front not been, pacey enough when it looks in comparison to what is going on with regards to ethics committee, with regards to, in her case. So Kabir, what is wrong in not letting her cross question, or what is right in letting her cross question?
So, you see, Mohua has been avoiding the process. This is a process, it's a parliamentary process, and the speaker, who is in the chair of parliament, he needs to decide the process. So Mohua has been avoiding this. Let her come on record, let her face the committee, let her put her application before the committee and the speaker. If she wants to question, yes, natural justice would demand that she is allowed to question the people who've levied the allegations. But there's a process. So let the speaker deliberate on that, let the committee deliberate on that, and then, the things would fall into place. Don't avoid it, face it. That is what I want to tell Mahua. Face it.
Yeah, but she's facing tomorrow. Do you think...
Tomorrow?
Yes. Tomorrow is when the ethics committee will be meeting, and she is appearing before the ethics committee tomorrow. So that brings me to my question, Kabir. Because she has withdrawn the case against the media, and which she had earlier said that was the entire coverage is defamatory, it is malicious in nature. So that intent of the media has been set aside completely. That is no longer in the domain of questioning. But now, as far as her allegations against those who are her complainants are concerned, be it Nishikant Dubey or Dehadrai, both of them she wants to cross-question. My question then is that, do you think this will enter into more of a domain of politics rather than the processes of a committee? Because then it will be about what is the entire constitution of this committee, what is the number dominance as far as the India parties are concerned, or for that matter, the BJP or the NDA parties?
Let me answer, Marya. Not only did she withdraw her claim against the media houses, she also told the court that she is not pressing for an interim order. That interim order was for an injunction on all these other people which you've just named, that they should not be allowed to propagate further whatever was being said. Now, the moment Mahua told the court she's not pressing for an interim order at that stage, I, as a common citizen, would think she has not expressed her urgency, or she doesn't have sufficient material to press her claim at that stage. This itself opens the question, that means is there wrongdoing? Yes, it is now. She's trying to make this political because she rushed to court without having substance. You can't just rush to court. And that is why she had to withdraw now. She's now trying to give it a political color. She's also trying to rope in the Honorable Prime Minister by saying Hiranandani's affidavit was coerced by the Prime Minister. Is ridiculous. So she's trying to give this a political color because she's not having anything else to bank on.
Okay, I just have 30 seconds for Subabrata. Mr. Bhattacharya, what is it that you'll be watching out for tomorrow?
Before I say that, a quick comment. Mr. Danish Ali, the complainant against Mr. Biduri, is a member of this ethics committee. He has not objected to the proceedings of the ethics committee or pointed out that his complaint against Mr. Biduri is pending in the other committee. They're two different committees. So Mr. Danish Ali attending the meeting.
He is a member of ethics committee, and his complaint is before the privileges. Right.
Makes Mahua's this defense also tenuous. I would be looking forward to fireworks tomorrow. I don't expect Mahua to submit easily to the jurisdiction of the committee. She will try to. She has been obfuscating throughout, and her obfuscation will continue.
All right. Kabir Bose and Subabrata Bhattacharya, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
24 hours after opposition MPs claimed to have received alerts from Apple saying it said state-sponsored, there is a new twist. The person who has shared that on his Twitter handle is joining me live. Sanjeev Sanyal is the member of Economic Advisory Council of the Prime Minister. Mr. Sanyal, appreciate your time. An alert of that nature is certainly a huge concern. It's very specific, but Apple's statement has also given a mixed signal that state-sponsored attackers are very well funded and sophisticated, and their attacks evolve over time. And at the same time, they say that it may be false alerts as well. But you are talking about a larger conspiracy which is linked to George Soros. Why?
Well, I mean, I've just raised some common sense points. I'll tell you what my common sense points. It's nothing to do with my, knowledge of technical aspects of cyber hacking and cyber security. Most of my points are just by reading through the messages that were sent and the alerts that were sent also separately on the phone, which are somewhat different. So let me say that when this notification comes, if you just read the notification, the language itself is very strange. It uses things like, you are being attacked, let me quote, because of who you are or what you do. I mean, this is not, technical language from a technology company. These are politically loaded in language, which sort of suggests that you are being targeted in some fashion and so on by some state. Of course, it doesn't even tell you which state and provides no proof of it. But even simply insinuating that you are being targeted because of who you are is kind of odd. I mean, you don't see that kind of language in any way. Then it carries on. It becomes even better. Afterwards, there is this insinuation, okay, you're being attacked persistently perhaps, so you should do something about it. So normally you would think Apple, world's largest company, etc., it would be telling you to go and, deal with their security team or whatever it is. Oh no, they make a statement to the effect that, you must go and seek help from some unnamed experts. Now, this is totally strange. I mean, who are these experts? Why should they be helping you? But then, even better, in their alert, which was sent directly to the phone, it actually tells you who these experts are. Interestingly, they are not, by the way, in Apple at all. So let me read it out to you so that there is no doubt about the matter. It says, you must enlist expert help such as rapid response emergency security assistance provided by the digital security helpline at the non-profit Access Now. If you're an activist, independent journalist, or not-profit worker, you can contact them 24 hours, 7 days a week at their website, accessnow.org, and so on. Now, the point of the matter is that, why would, top-notch company like this be asking you to go and take help from some external and unknown NGO? But it gets even better. When you go into that Access Now website and you look into their sponsors, it is quite interesting that they are a particular kind of sponsor. Now, there are a whole bunch of them. There's a long list which provides a lot of padding because, of course, there are small contributions from many, many people. But if you look and pay attention to the large amounts, here are the people who fund Access Now in large quantity, numbers. One is Open Society of Soros. Then there is Omidyar, which is under Luminate. Then there's Ford Foundation. There's also the Global Affairs Department of the Government of Canada. And then there's the German government. Now, this is very odd, particularly since Apple is not one of their major sponsors, at least not this year. Now, none of what I'm saying requires some very deep knowledge of technical issues. I'm just raising some questions that should be asked by everybody.
Okay, but Mr. Sanyal, the question is also what Apple has said in its statement that given the background, they talked about how alerts have been sent to 150 individuals in 150 countries. Neither do we know about these people, who they are outside India, what their profile is. But given the link that you're talking about to an NGO which is funded by George Soros, in India, those emails or alerts have gone only to opposition leaders or critics of the government. So doesn't that make this entire episode even more murky? That why only to the critics of the government and opposition leaders?
Well, that I don't know. As I said, I'm no expert in any of these things. I just ask some common sense questions. I have no particular expertise in any of this or in the politics of it. All I can say is that just logically thinking, there are three possibilities. The first possibility is that this is an impersonation, but then Apple, by virtue have responded to this, seems to have put that in the back burner. That would have been the simple explanation, that somebody is impersonating Apple and has managed to send you these things, like just like the old Nigerian princes used to send us all kinds of random emails. But that's not the case. Apple has responded to this, or at least has not claimed that this is an impersonation. So let's put it to the side. That leads you to two possible possibilities. One, that Apple has actually outsourced its technical security systems to an NGO. Now, that is really strange. I mean, the world's largest company, makes a big deal out of the fact that its OS system can't be hacked and so on, has outsourced its security system to an NGO. You've got to be kidding me. And if they have done so, they should tell us. Then
Absolutely.
The third thing is that the third possibility, which is actually a possibility, I don't know how this thing, is that Apple's security team has been infiltrated by some agenda-driven groups that are now driving many of the activities it has done. I mean, we saw that happening earlier with Twitter. So that, by the way, has many, many implications, because Twitter in the end was just an app. If there are people who are agenda-driven running their security systems, then they can then hack into anybody's system. They may have, made a fuss about sending messages to certain groups, political groups in India, but frankly, they have then capability of hacking all our phones, reading all our messages. Since now there is no sanctity to their promise of protecting our privacy, they can do all kinds of things.
Mrs. Sanyal, since we're talking about this tech giant, many are reading the statement that was issued yesterday as adding more confusion to what is being seen and claimed by opposition as an episode of snooping by the government. They are saying that detecting such attacks relies on threat intelligence signals that are often incomplete and imperfect. Also, some are undetected. So with the government now asking Apple to explain, we saw the press conference by the IT minister, and the opposition is asking the government to come clean. This has taken that form of the opposition saying that the government is snooping.
I'm not a technical expert. You need to ask people who are in this field to look at the data. Maybe Apple should make the data available. Maybe there'll be a response. I have no capability of doing all of this, nor were the questions that I raised have anything to do with the technical issues at all. I was just raising some common sense questions, by the way, which is not even related to my area of work. These are questions that surely should have arisen in the minds of pretty much anybody who, just happened to read these messages and took the trouble of going to Access Now website.
My last question to you before I let you go, you are saying that these are common sense questions, but since you have raised these questions, that is the reason why I sought your time to explain as to why you're making those linkages. Mrs. Sanyal, my question is, because of what is happening right now, do you think it is now completely the onus on Apple to ensure that it comes clean, because this is only adding to the larger conspiracy theory which is doing the round?
Absolutely. The onus is certainly on Apple to explain what on earth is going on. Either they tell us that it's an impersonation and something has gone wrong, or they tell us that their systems have been outsourced now to an NGO. That is also fine, by the way. I have no problem. That's their corporate policy. They should just tell us that, from here on, your Access Now will decide your security systems, which is fine. With those buying Apple products, will be aware that some random NGO has access to their security systems and take their call. I mean, I have no problem with that, except I'm rather, those who use Apple products may have different views on the matter, but, you have not told us this. And third, the real possibility that there is a serious infiltration of their security systems by agenda-driven people, which, as I said, has happened in the past with other agencies which we know of. And there's the famous case of Twitter, where we know from their internal conversations what they were doing to manipulate various things. So this sort of, any of these possibilities is worrying.
All right, Sanjeev.
I have no way of knowing which one is true, and nor is it actually my job to look them up. I just tweeted this because I was somewhat puzzled by the whole thing, just like everybody else.
All right, Sanjeev Sanyal, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with NDTV. So that was Sanjeev Sanyal explaining as to why he tweeted what he tweeted this morning. Tomorrow morning from 10 a.m. onwards, there'll be a special broadcast here on NDTV where we will be tracking two big stories. That is Aam Aadmi Party Supremo and Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal appearing before the Enforcement Directorate in the liquor policy scam. And the other story, of course, is Mahua Moitra's appearance before the Ethics Committee of Parliament. So this is your destination for all the breaking news. Don't go anywhere. Thanks so much for watching.